the idea of Brhat and the philosophy of Brhat itself, and what inspired us to call it Brhat. For those who are familiar with Sri Aurobindo's writings, the idea of Satyam, Ratha, and Brhat are probably familiar. And when I spoke to some linguists, because this word just had a very strong appeal right from the first time I heard it, and when I spoke to some linguists around the philosophy and the etymology and the connotations of the idea itself, one of them told me a beautiful story about what it is. Right? There is the universal truth. Right? In the Hindu cosmology, in our metaphysics, there is the idea of Satya, that there is a truth out there. Right? And the patterns that we are able to discern, if you are tuned in, if you have a heightened sense of consciousness, the mega patterns that you can see and the perception of that is what we call Rita. Right? So the explanation was that when the truth manifests itself, and if it is, the manifestation is close to the original blueprint in any form, can be in an organization, it can be an institution, it can be even in a family. When there is a certain truth or an intuition of truth, and when the manifested action really matches and corresponds totally with the idea that that was first there, then what happens is expansion. That expansion is Brhat. That there is a consonance between the idea and the manifested form. Right? And when there is, when it is not there, when there's a little bit of dissonance, then you see that the idea does not scale in modern terms, right? Scale, and I would like to propose this to people who think about scale in corporate, people who think about scale in civilizational terms, is when the action is absolutely consonant with the idea of the truth. Right? And this is also the idea that animates us at Brhat, that there is currently a chasm. There is a bit of a divide between what is Bharat's fundamental blueprint and the way it is manifesting in our institutions, in our education, in our political systems, in our economic system. So there is a little bit of a gap, right? And the whole idea of Brhat is that we should do something to try and bridge that gap. And if we do that, then that is Brhat, that it expands, that the culture and the expression of that culture expands.